Well, hello there. Welcome to Creativity is Cool with me, your host, Emily Milling. By the way, if you want to check this out, you can find it anywhere you get your podcasts, or on YouTube, or I post clips on TikTok and Instagram at emily.milling. Okay, I've said all the things that I need to say that are important to say this time. I didn't forget. I didn't stop halfway through. I also made sure to set focus this time because last week I did not set focus. I just sat down and started recording. I actually just did a pretty long recording of what I'm about to go through today, what I'm going to talk about today. I stopped it because it felt totally disingenuous. I really prefer it when I just sit down and start talking. And there are some specific things that I did want to talk about today related to my creativity and all the fun things that are going on. And I wrote them down as notes. I wrote them down as beats. And I was must hit all the beats to tell the story. But at the same time, I'm this feels disingenuous. And even as I'm talking about that now, because I literally just said basically the exact same thing 5 minutes ago when I was recording this for the first time, it still feels a little bit disingenuous. But there's stuff that I want to talk about. It needs to come out of me. So I was watching Insecure the other day, and the character Molly, if you know the show, it's a great show. It's by Issa Rae. So anyway, Molly says, yeah, I just need to stop overanalyzing everything in my life. And I was holy fuck. You can do that? You can just stop overanalyzing everything in your life? The difference between me and Molly is that she started therapy in her 30s. I started therapy in my teens. And I'm 100% sure that all of the therapy that I've been to has caused me to get into this loop of overanalysis, this constant am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? I have to restart. I have to make everything better. I have to make everything perfect. And if it's not perfect, then bad things are going to happen. That could be a little bit of OCD, which was almost nearly diagnosed when I got diagnosed with ADHD. But my ADHD won out. And I was no, I don't want to talk about my obsessive compulsive things where I think bad things are going to happen if I don't do things specifically in a perfect way. Luckily, it doesn't impact my life. Otherwise, I would probably actually go back and get a proper diagnosis. That's besides the point. These are the things we live with ADHD. It just doesn't stop. Also, my eyeballs are full of ring light circles. It's like the Olympic lights are in my eyeballs, just burned into my retinas right now. I wanted to talk about being overanalytical. And I think being overanalytical led me to not accepting that I can just feel emotions. And not feeling emotions has led me to not being able to cry anymore. And not being able to cry has led me to feeling like everything in my body is so tight that if you even tried to stick a pin in me, it would shoot it out and it would poke you in the eyeball. I am that tense constantly, all the time. Talk to my singing coach about this. I talk to any physiotherapist, any massage therapist. Everything is just tense and tight in my body. And I think it's because I'm not letting go of whatever sadness needs to come out of me. And I feel very removed from it. I constantly am just jumping over the feeling of the sadness. And I'm well, why should I feel sad? And then I go into the root reasons why. And then I go further into that. If I feel angry, if I feel frustrated, I'm what's making me angry or frustrated? It could be because of this reaction that I had to this bully when I was in school. And then also my narcissistic father was another reaction of this. And then this other narcissistic friend I had in school could also be causing this situation. And therefore, that's why I must be feeling angry or sad. And this is why my reaction is the way it is. And here we are. I never gave myself a chance to fucking cry. And so therefore, I've forgotten how to cry. When I was a kid, I was bullied a lot. I was a fat ADHD kid, so I was pretty ripe for the bullying, I guess, if that's the society we want to perpetuate, which it is not. I don't want that particularly. So I have this very like clear, distinct memory when I was a kid. It was recess. I was hanging out with quote unquote friends, and there was anytime there was like some sort of athletic thing happening around me with a ball, it was like all the balls would just like go smack right into my head. Like there was a magnet in my head and there was just balls flying at my head constantly. And I know how that sounds and I know what the visual is like, but yes, balls were constantly hitting me in the face all the time. So and it was painful. So I'm sitting with my friends at recess one time, and a soccer ball was kicked squarely into my face, like right here. I can remember it was like the right topper, left, right quadrant. It was the upper right quadrant of my face. And I can still feel the burn and the sting of when this stupid ball hit me in the face. And I was so determined to not let anybody see that it hurt me physically, this thing that was so painful, that I sucked the tears back into my tear ducts and I was like, everything's fine. I'm A-okay. Why wouldn't it be fine? That was the beginning of the end of me crying. I even bought myself like a little tear stick, like,
please hold, we are experiencing technical difficulties. You are important to, me.
I have now replaced the battery twice, so I really hope this actually continues. It says it has 40% left, but we'll find out if I have to re-record me talking about a menthol stick in my eyeball for the 4th time. So I was gonna say, I bought myself a tear stick so that I could actually figure out how to cry like on camera, like for acting purposes. And like, it's like a menthol, like Vaseline kind of stick, and you rub it under your eye, and it's supposed to make your eyes like well up and tear up so that you can like actually appear like you're crying. Even that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I would give you a demonstration, but I don't want to have like a greasy under eye for the rest of this video, so I'm just not gonna do that. You're gonna have to take me at my word, okay? So how does this impact my creativity? Well, because if I spend like all of my time overanalyzing what I'm feeling, why I'm reacting in a particular way, all of this stuff, then I just spend even more time analyzing my lyrics, analyzing how I'm putting together like the structure of a song, like all of these things. And then I go into like, well, what are other people doing? And how is this? We're really, as we've established already, like the point of this whole thing is like, just enjoy myself, like making music, having fun, having a good time so that I can give a good time to other people. That's number 4. At least I don't have to tell my tear stick story again. But I have no idea what I was fucking talking about, so it is what it is. You know what, everyone? Charge your batteries. Charge your batteries is a good analogy, just for life, I think. Go charge your batteries. Take a rest. Take a breather. Sit on the curb and flick stones at the sewer. Whatever. Do whatever is restful for you. That's another thing I gotta work on too, and I know that. Maybe there's something that I was gonna say earlier that, like, the universe didn't want me to tell you. That's why it just kept shutting down. Because I can't remember a goddamn thing about what I was going to tell you. I remember. If I'm making stuff that, like, I don't feel good about, and I send it out to you, you're just gonna be like, this lady is just a big phony. Why is she pretending to be something she's not? I've had a lot of experience being something that I'm not in acting, but just in my life in general. And I still, like, something still feels disingenuous about what I'm sharing with you today, and I don't know why. But I feel like I have to keep going and, like, keep talking about it because this is a thing that plagues creative people. Like, we feel like imposters. We feel like we're phonies. We feel like we're not, like, where we're supposed to be or something like that. And, like, that gets in the way of putting stuff out there that just makes us feel good. So here's what I'm doing this week to kind of like combat that. Also just as a fun experiment for myself. So I started writing a song a day. I've done 2 so far. I have done another song today, but it's a theme for the Comedy Bang Bang podcast plugs section, which I've been promising myself I'm going to do for like the last 10 years and just haven't done it. I actually sat down and wrote one today. And I'm going to send it to them, and hopefully it goes to the right place, and maybe it goes on the podcast, and it'll be great. I'll let you know if that happens. But for 2 days now, I have written songs with the following principles that I think are pretty crucial for anyone who's dealing with this over-analytical kind of brain that is just like not letting them do a goddamn thing creatively. The first thing is, I'm not going to write down any of the lyrics that I'm singing about. And the reason why is because I want to put myself in a mindset where I'm not like, and the reason is I know why I feel disingenuous, because I have to keep starting and restopping. And I feel like if I say the same thing over and over again, it's like I'm like scripting it. And that is literally what I'm trying to explain right now. That like, if I write something down, if I write my lyrics down, I start overanalyzing them and I start feeling like, this isn't exactly what I want to say. People aren't going to find that funny. Is this as funny as what Andy Samberg would say? Come on, Emily. We're not quite there yet. We'll get there one day, but not quite yet. And it's not that important at the moment, at this particular moment in time. So I was like, okay, first rule, I am not writing down any lyrics. I'm just going to have to try to memorize what I'm saying or like what the through line is. And I can record, listen back, and then re-record, but I can't write it down because I don't want the permanence of seeing the words in front of me to distract me from the ultimate goal, which is just write a dang silly song. Like it has to mean absolutely nothing at all. Okay. And then the second thing is, what was the second thing? This is the problem with like me not writing things down is that, as you can see, I forget stuff pretty fast sometimes, especially if I'm tired. And I had really weird dreams last night. So I'm like extra sleepy and I made myself get up early to go to the gym. So I'm extra sleepy. So the second thing is whatever I start singing about, I have to continue that thread. I can't like change it halfway through. So if I decide to start singing about magic 8-balls, I can't suddenly start singing about goblins in cemeteries. I have to just sing a song about magic 8-balls. And yesterday, the song that I wrote was about getting essential oils, like cinnamon essential oils, like on me, and it was like burny feeling. So I just had to continue on that thread. I did allow myself to talk about other cinnamon related things, but I was like, gotta stick with cinnamon and it impacting my body in a negative way. I will now play that song for you.
I accidentally got cinnamon essential oils all over my face. I just wanted to diffuse it in my diffuser for a pleasant smelling space. It feels like the fiery burning of 1,000 suns, like my face is peeling off my skull. Oh no, the pain is quite severe. Oh no, it's getting in my ear. I accidentally ate 5,000 cinnamon hearts in one big gulp. This is probably worse than the face thing because it's in my throat. It feels like a never-ending bite of pizza that's too hot. I wish that I had milk, but I do not. Oh no, it's messing with my gut. Oh no, it's coming out my butt.
So that's how that turned out. And then this is the first one that I wrote, just to give you some context.
I have a theory that if I write down any lyrics, I'm just gonna hate them and throw them out. So I'm making this up as I go along. Just like life, I guess. This is the beginning of me writing a song every day to work on my creativity. You can come along with me if you want. If you don't, that's also fine. I won't be offended, but I'd really like to have you along for the ride, cause I don't know what I'm gonna do without accountability from the public. Yeah, that's you. Hey, guess what? Yeah. So that's as far as I got on my first attempt. Here's another attempt. This is another verse that I'm gonna put together for you because I just feel like we gotta keep going. I don't know what I'm gonna sing about. Do you want a hint? I'm not psychic, but maybe I am, so I could predict what I'm going to sing. Maybe I'm gonna sing about mustard. Maybe I'm gonna sing about Colonel Mustard, specifically in the clue game in the room. Okay, so that wasn't like my greatest work of all time, but remember, I'm not writing any of this down because I feel like it's gonna stifle me. So, okay, let me try it one more time. I feel like society puts pressure on people. I know that's kind of not really a new idea, but I think it's kind of true. But here's the other thing. I think that we put pressure pressure on ourselves because society puts pressure on us so that we have to be perfect all the time, and we're not actually friends with gorillas. I really wanted to be friends with gorillas, and I'm not entirely sure how I got here. This is the part of the song where I have to wrap it up. So I'm just gonna sing anything that comes out of my mouth, because this song actually means nothing at all, nothing at all, nothing at all. Just like life means nothing at all. So why not have fun doing something dumb like singing a song about Colonel Mustard and gorillas? Yeah.
So that's it. This is my experiment to feel like I can stop overanalyzing things. And it's so funny that like this whole recording, I've been like, am I saying things right? Am I saying things wrong? I wrote down all my notes and I was like, I'm going to say it exactly perfectly the way that I planned it in my head, because that's exactly how it has to go. And if it doesn't go exactly perfect like that, I'm not going to be successful and I'm not going to be any good. And now I'm paranoid that everything's going to stop recording and I have to say this all over again. At least I've caught it a couple of times now, and just replace the battery before I continue talking. The other thing that I'm going to just say here when it comes to creativity is I've got this other sort of like guideline for myself that I've set up that I really did not follow today at all. And that was, make sure the technology is connected and working before you start so that you don't get frustrated halfway through and then get angry at it and then not want to do it anymore. Just like make sure the tech works. Because there's nothing worse than your recording stopping halfway through 14 times. Or like I spent so much time trying to figure out why my freaking interface was not giving enough phantom power to my microphone. Turns out I think it's my microphone that's busted, and I think it was busted by my new interface, my other new interface, the Steinberg. Now I have a Scarlett Focusrite. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but the Scarlett Focusrite 4i4 is way better than the Steinberg 2i2. I don't know what was up with that Steinberg, man. I used to have a Steinberg interface and it was perfect. It was like no problem. It did exactly what it said it would do, and then it stopped working with the new Mac updates and bullshit like that. So I had to get a new Steinberg, and it just fucking sucked, man. And then suddenly I guess it blew out the sensor on my microphone. Anyway, besides the point, technical rants aside, that's the other guideline that I'm giving myself, because the less barriers I have to deal with, the easier it's going to be. I do want to keep some parameters in place, right? Like creativity, like I truly do believe that creativity is easiest when you give yourself like a little bit of structure. Like with improv, there's still structure. There's still the goal of telling a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and like going through that story arc. Or there's particular rules. There, like in games, there's the sit, stand, bend game. There's like the game where you can only say 2 words or however many words the audience lets you say, and that's the total number of words you can say per line before someone else has to start talking. That one's really fun. There's lots of different like rules in which to create that makes it easier to create, and without having some sort of structure, some parameter, some guideline, something to anchor you with, it becomes increasingly more difficult. And so therefore, I had to create some structure for these songs that I'm writing. Otherwise, I would just end up in a pile on the floor, as per usual, as it has been going, just being like, why am I not good enough? Well, why do I not feel good enough? Well, there was this one time that this thing happened, and then that probably caused me to feel like that. And here's this repeating behavior and pattern in my life that I am continuing to this day and perpetuating because I've just learned it from childhood. And you see how having too much therapy can maybe not be a great thing all the time. I mean, I'm not knocking therapy. Therapy's great. I love therapy. I really love it. I just am realizing that there's a time and a place to analyze stuff. Like, if you're constantly snapping at your partner or something, maybe you should look into why. Maybe there's a reason why. But if it's like, if it's just coming in at you at times that it's not of service to you to like figure out like your own sometimes personal growth is just being like, wow, I feel like a butt today. Okay. That's it. Just accept that you feel like a butt. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Okay? Just, if you feel like a butt, that's fine. If you feel like you want to punch your camera in the face because it sucks too much battery life out of your batteries, or maybe you just want to find the chargers for your batteries so that you can actually charge the batteries. You could do that too. That's also an option for you. And also, the end. I don't know. I was going to say something else. I should probably tell you. You can find this on YouTube, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And I'm on TikTok at emily.milling. And I'm on Instagram at emily.milling, where I'll be posting all these videos of these songs. And I'd love to hear from you. What do you like? What do you not like? What are the things that you are thinking about when it comes to your creativity? What are some things that you would like me to talk about on here? I can be reached at emily.milling on Instagram or TikTok or on YouTube at Emily Milling. Okay. Bye.